All right, folks, what is up? It is the Salty Vet back with another video. Thank you for tuning in. Um, I just made a post about Trump and his continuing extension of the deadlines with Iran. Um, and as I went through that, it's hard to everything with this guy is hard to track because he lies so frequently and with such great confidence. It's really hard to tell what's real and what's bullshit, right? And Tom Bilyeu, if you haven't seen his podcast, Impact Theory, please check it out. The guy's brilliant. Um, has a quote, and he says, "You're being spun at all times by everyone. The left does it, the right does it, socialists do it, communists do it, capitalists do it, like whatever. Everybody does it, right?" And I found a list of the 9 principles of propaganda. And I'm going to go through these right quick. And a couple of them are kind of self explanatory, a couple of them aren't. Um, and with this war in Iran going on, it is so difficult. Man, it is so difficult to get just the truth, just what's going on. It feels like COVID again. It really does. Because with COVID, everything just shut down. And it was really hard to find. This is where I really got into podcasts because the news wasn't telling me anything. If they were, it was bullshit, um, as they are sponsored by pharmaceutical companies, right? So they're not going to give you any straight reporting. And if you're just as a side note, if you're still watching the mainstream media, please stop. Like your local news, I guess is fine, but if you're watching MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, like stop. They're not going to give you the whole story, right? And that's what propaganda is telling the American people or whatever citizenry you're talking to the story that forms the narrative you want them to believe, right? And everything our government does is led by propaganda. Pick a topic, you can find it. The Epstein files, go back to JFK, um, the Vietnam War, any war for sure, you're getting propaganda. Whether it's not reporting what actually happened, not accurately reporting our troops' deaths or injuries, over reporting the enemy's deaths and injuries, stuff like that. So here we go. Um, 9 principles for propaganda. Number one, the big lie. Big lies work better than small lies because the masses won't believe that anyone would, quote, lie about that. Trump uses this to perfection. Because you can't sit and listen to a grown man, regardless of what you think about him, say the stuff he says and then square that in your head somehow and go, nah, he wouldn't lie about that. If COVID didn't teach you anything else, it should teach you that they will lie to all of us. Period, full stop. Number two, focus. Don't make it complicated. Ignore history. Keep it simple for simple minds. They think you're stupid. And we do have a dumb voter problem in this country, right? People that, and what I mean by that, it's not so much intellect, but it is ignorance. And honestly, I think that might be worse because you have the intellect to do the research and you choose not to. I'm a Democrat because Mama was a Democrat. I vote Republican because Papa was a Republican. I would just, if that's your reasoning, I would just assume you not vote because they're two wings of the same bird at this point. There's not a plug nickel's difference between any of them. Number 3, repeat. People cannot tell the difference between facts and familiarity. The same words repeated over and over will become true in their minds, right? Trust the science. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We'll only be there for a few weeks. And you see this over and over and over and over again, mainly from the mainstream media. It starts at, the White House or the Pentagon or whomever, and they just run with it. Number 4, blame. Never credit the other side. Always blame, debase, defame, and dehumanize. You don't have to look any farther than Capitol Hill to see this in full display right now. I believe one of the reasons that the Democrats aren't jumping up and down about the way we are involved in this war, the way it's being handled, is because politically they're giving him enough rope to hang himself. And I believe also he's going to get slaughtered in the midterms. He's going to lose the Senate, and he's going to lose the House, and he's going to get impeached. And this time it will be for real. Number 5, provoke. Outrage, fear, and resentment are more powerful than reason, logic, or facts. Emotion. If they can make you feel something, our brain tends to override logic with emotion, right? You have to find a way to push that to the side, no matter how terrifying or scary it may sound, and dig for the truth, because it's there. You just got to dig for it. It's sad that we do, but we do. Number 6, crisis. Issues must be life or death, good versus evil, love versus hate, us versus them. Urgency defeats objection. Phrase you've heard ad nauseum, existential crisis. How many times have you heard that just in the last month? Regardless of whom was saying it, how many times have you heard it? Right? They make a crisis where there wasn't one. The Strait of Hormuz, before he went in there and bombed them, was open and by all accounts was working fine. Now it's going to be a giant toll booth. Does that smell like success to you? I don't think so. Emotion. A person might question facts, but they will never question their own feelings. Same thing as provoke, right? It's really hard to question what you're feeling, but as you search for that logic / truth to a given set of information, it becomes easier the closer you get to the truth, if that makes sense. Number 8, pander. Praise allies generously, demonize all who disagree as having bad intentions or a non-expert. Well, he's not a doctor. How would he know about COVID? Well, I have the internet and I can do research. That's educating yourselves. That is a debating tactic, and it's a fallacy. It's an appeal to authority, meaning just because, no other reason, just because you have MD or PhD or whatever after your name, you cannot be questioned. That's an argumentative fallacy. Don't buy it. And number 9, no limit. The victor's morality won't be questioned. Morality is for losers. And this is kind of the big one, right? We have a subjective morality in America, a situational morality. And it is eating away at the fabric of this country. We're losing our values because we justify, at least militarily, everything we do as moral. If you think back 5 weeks now, the original intent, the original reason we were given from the president and from the Pentagon as to why we were going to war with Iran was because they slaughtered 30,000 of their people and we're going to liberate the people. Right? That's also a catchphrase, liberate. We've never literally liberated anybody. every time we go in and do one of these regime change wars, and it didn't even change the regime, let's get that straight. The people are, man, with the exception of maybe Panama, they're always worse because now you have a vacuum for power, and they get tribal and people start to compete for it, and people die when that happens. So think about these the next time you hear a story. The big one I would say is emotion, because the media understands to play on your emotion, right? To elicit a desired response. Most times it's bullshit. It's not even real. All right. Y'all be cool. See you next time.